I want to make one final note about sharing settings. Whether you are sharing your Google Drive files and folders on Google Classroom, Google Sites, or email, or anywhere else, please, please, please mind your sharing settings. Don't let this screen happen to you. When you've embedded something on your Google site or you shared it with your students and they open it and they're met with the dreaded "you need permission" screen. That's not good for them because it holds them up completing work that they were ready to begin with. It doesn't look extremely professional, even though it's very simple to make the mistake, and I have still made it several times during e-learning. It just doesn't make the best impression. And then also whoever created the material, their inbox gets flooded with requests for access. So it's not a win-win situation to have your sharing locked down to where nobody can access the material that you're trying to put out. So when I am sharing an element with my students or with their parents or with a substitute or a group of substitutes on my website, I like to put it all into one folder. And to model this, I'm going to use excuse me, my e-learning folder. You can see right now that my e-learning folder has a face, a little person on it. And so what that means is that it has been shared with anyone who has the link. Now, conversely, if you look at another folder on my drive, like my grade verifications, I have that locked down so that it is private. It doesn't excuse me, it doesn't give access to anyone. So if I were to email somebody a link to that, which I wouldn't do, obviously, because that has students' private information in it. But if I were to email somebody a link to this folder, they would have to request access in order to get in. So in order to provide access to an entire folder, I will use my classroom management to show that. I am right clicking on that folder and then I am going to click share. Now, if I say get shareable link, then that is good for sharing with your students or with other teachers who are within the Greenville County web space, because anyone who has a greenvilleschools.us email will be able to view it. So if I want it to be available to a wider audience, for example, if I want something for like my syllabus, my long range plans, my subfolder to be available on my website, then I'm going to go to the advanced button down here at the bottom, and where it says anyone at Greenville County School District who has the link can view, I'm going to click change, and I'm either going to choose on anyone with the link or on public on the web. There really is no difference between those for when you're embedding information on your site, but this means that it's also searchable. If it's something that you want people to be able to Google and find, that might be a good thing. But for most things, just saying on anyone with the link is fine. Now, you also want to check down here and make sure that it's view only, unless it's something that you want your users to be able to move around, add to, and edit. And that way, people can't mess with your stuff. So if you were to post, say, a Google Doc and then make it so that anyone on the whole internet can edit, that could potentially be a harmful situation. And then, of course, you're going to click save. Now, when you embed that document or when you embed this folder or anything in it on your site, or when you share it on Google Classroom, or when you email it out to parents, that means that they'll be able to see what's in it and they won't get that dreaded you have to request access screen. Now, there may be a situation where you want people to have to request access. For example, if you were going to share something that had potentially sensitive information in it, if you needed to share information about a specific student with a substitute, for example, I have used that in the past. But for the most part, making information public on the web is important when you are going to be sharing it through any of the means of distribution that I have talked about using Google Classroom or Google Sites or Google Drive.